and talk about like Y2K. You know, that's like '01, '02. For you, you would know that as 1901, 1902.
Wait, is that an age joke?
Like the years. Hello and welcome back to the Rigged Recap. I am Derek, aka the Drag Detective, and I'm here with my lovely, wonderful, beautiful co-host, Bucy. How are you today?
Hi, Derek. I'm exhausted. It's been a long 2 weeks of Pride events, and I'm ready to go back home and be oppressed again.
Oh my gosh. I'm just happy that you were able to, take some time out of your busy schedule to come here. I'm so happy to see you so booked and blessed. I just wish you were blessed with an actual book, you dumb bitch.
You know what? Actually, I just learned how to read, so I would actually love a good book. I heard Bible is very popular.
It's overrated.
Maybe Quran. Hi, Drag Detective. I'm so impressed by you because you also travel everywhere. I know you just visited Canada. You go all over the place. I wouldn't say booked, you're so busy. I just wish you would make your travels more permanent. Please.
Yeah, there's this lovely rock that I think I'm gonna go live under, maybe in like another week or so. But see, I'm really happy. You said you just learned how to read, and that's really nice to hear because the reads you've been giving these past couple weeks.
Well, I just hope I learn how to write soon so I can write better material, but we will see.
Oh, come on. You are the roast queen.
Oh, actually, I got my own roast. Soon we will have the official date, but I'm so ready to spread my hatefulness to all of my sisters. Speaking of, today I look a little bit different because I did a parody number of my good sis, Sad Sally. She allowed me to copy her makeup. I hope I didn't go too far, but I just want to shout her out. Thank you for letting me look like this today and making a fool out of myself in the audience.
I wondered why you looked so good today.
I look so pretty.
Just kidding. You always look iconic, and I always look like my name's Dave.
Hi, Dave. How are you? Hi, straight.
Hi, gay. Come death drop
Ella.
into some deals today.
Slay the gay away. Wow.
I can't wait for Pride Month to be over and all of the major corporations to take all their profits and donate it right to an anti-LGBT organization.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm having so much fun doing this series with you. But if you want to keep watching us do the latter half of this season, we're actually going to switch the series over to Bucy's channel. So obviously the link will be in the description below. We have so much more hate to bring to this world, and we hope that you watch it over on her channel.
Yes, so from the next week forward, all of these shenanigans are going to be live on my channel, so make sure to go there, subscribe, click on the videos. We're just going to be, let's say, hateful, but then again, we're not hateful. Like, we always try to be nice. Like, we're just hateful towards each other.
Exactly. I don't have anything else mean to say to these queens, because I just throw it all at you.
Exactly, and I can take it.
That's what your Grindr profile said.
Well, some of us are not single. Some of us were lucky enough to find someone, and that can be you one day, Derek.
No, it can't. We all know that will never happen.
A day far, far, far away from today.
Give me, 40 years, give or take. Probably give.
I don't think we should take anything else from you because life already took enough.
It really has. But, today's episode of Drag Race is about a time where I had hope, I had happiness, there was no depression in these bones yet. And that is Y2K, everyone's favorite era.
Mhm.
Here's my Y2K queen
Represented.
forever. Who was your favorite like Y2K artist?
To be fair, I was born in 1997, so I was a child during the 2000s. So, like, is it wrong to say Hannah Montana? Because that was my girl. Like, Miley Cyrus was my chick, so.
I was born only a year
Mhm.
after you. I was a 98 baby, but I remember putting on Radio Disney every morning. Avril Lavigne and Hilary Duff were just popping off left and right. But I would also watch MTV sometimes, and I would see Britney, I would see Christina, and I was like, this is everything I need and more. They were my first favorite drag queens.
They are. That's why I think I love drag so much, because I'm like, oh, bitch, I am the Hannah Montana now. I put on a wig and I go perform. This is the best of both worlds. Well, the best of both worlds. The mediocrity of it all. But, like, where I grew up, we didn't have MTV TRL, so I wasn't really sure what that was. Like, we had our own program, so that's why I had to go back and look what the TRL actually is. And now I did, and I'm obsessed because I love the early 2000s, and now I love that the fashions are resurfacing, especially in drag. Those big Bratz dolls outfits, I live for that.
Sugar and Spice, that's literally their entire aesthetic.
They are the best, like, live Bratz dolls I ever saw. I could never pull that off because I have a huge ass. But if I was a skinny twink, I would just like wear all the 2000 like little lace things, like show off all the like your stomach and stuff. And I like now that would be triggering. Okay.
If I wore a crop top, I would kill the crops. I think I had certain expectations going into this challenge just because I am so nostalgic for that type of music. Like, I will put on Oops, I Did It Again. I will put on Pop by NSYNC. Like, that kind of stuff I love. And I feel like my expectations were not met for the first time this season. What did you think overall about this episode?
I mean, in general, it was fine. I like don't have anything bad to say. Like nobody did horrible, but for me, I didn't really get Y2K from the groups. It was just like girl groups. Like certain queens did bring it. Like I think Monet, Shea, even Yvie Oddly. But for most part, it just felt like a girl group challenge. And then like the drama was okay this episode. Like in general, this was a fine episode, but like not my favorite from the season so far.
Yeah, I agree. I just covered the Riggory of All Stars 5, and what I really liked about that season was the I'm in Love challenge, because it took the girl group formula, but it said, okay, you can't just write random lyrics, like you have to make it fit a certain idea. And I thought that was a really fun idea, like way to switch it up a little bit. And I wanted that more from this, and very few queens actually took it there. So I was a little disappointed, but...
And you wrote your own Dumbledore verse, which we all got to see.
Which I subjected all of you to against your will.
I'm like, okay, Derek, calm down.
Delete it.
There is an option to cut the videos after you upload them now, so maybe.
So the episode actually starts out with Raja and Jinx, who have an extra star, and they then get to give it to another competitor. So if you were in one of their position, who would you give your star to?
There's no question it's Yvie Oddly, because why would you want to give it to somebody who already has a star and then make them progress even more into the competition? So you give it to a queen who has the least amount of stars. Like, that's a survivor strategy. I'm not gonna put my votes on somebody who's not gonna get voted out. For no apparent reason.
Can I drop some, like, strategy inception on you? Because I saw this on Twitter, and I was like, this is genius. Someone said, if I had to give an extra star out, I would give it to Jinx Monsoon. So, and she's killing every single challenge. She's already going to be basically guaranteed a spot in the finale. And she's someone that you could probably beat in a lip sync. So by giving her the star, you're not giving anyone else who's, going to be taking up another spot in the finale a better chance of getting there. And you're ensuring that someone who you can probably beat in a lip sync is going to take up one of those spots. And I thought that was genius.
Yeah, and I heard strategy similar to that where they were like, well, you're gonna get a star to Yvie, who's a lip sync assassin, to go to the top four. But then again, like, to get to the top four, you need stars. But if Yvie doesn't have one, and everybody else has one, it's very complicated. I'm wondering, was there a way for Raja and Jinx like to give each other stars? I think that was probably, but like if that could have happened, then they could be like, well, why don't we just give each other stars and then make it like we both got 2 stars for this challenge win? But I assume production wouldn't allow that. But
Yeah, that's also true. So they end up giving them to Yvie and Jada, and that kind of backfires because, spoiler alert, Evie's now tied for the lead because she gets a second star this episode. So she went from 0 to 2 in one episode.
Why? And I mean, well, production is productioning, girl. They are doing what they do, which is like I like that storyline where all of a sudden you go from the like queen who has the least stars to being a front runner and the one to beat. And you can see like other queens like Shea Coulee that are shaken up by the fact that they don't have more stars. But then again, the season is just these queens keep outperforming each other every single week. So it's so hard to like I'm so surprised that Shea Coulee actually doesn't have more stars, but it's so hard to keep up with that. Like how do you do it? It's just complicated, and the star format kind of makes it easy for the production to give stars to people who they want. It's kind of easy to control because everybody is performing so well.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And you were talking about Shea. Shea's feeling a little insecure in this episode. She's feeling like she's fading into the background. Did you kind of feel this way too?
Unfortunately, yes, because at the beginning of the season, like, she's Shea Coulee. Like she is the one. Like she is drag queen's drag queen. Like she can do everything. And this season, all of a sudden, it's like she's not doing bad. She's just getting outshined. It's again so easy for the production to put who they want. And now, if they see Shea being in her head and complaining and moaning about not having stars, like these queens aren't going home. So the drama production can get only from queens being irritated at each other for not getting stars. And who has the power to put queens in the top 2 and give them stars? So this also could be on purpose, but it's just conspiracy theories.
Exactly. I liked what you said about how everyone is doing a good job, so production can justify giving anyone stars at any given point. And I think we see that this episode.
Cancel drag detective.
No. We'll get there. But first, the Vivienne kind of has a little moment. The idea is thrown out that they just go into teams based on where they're standing, and Viv is like not happy about this. She's like, no one asked for anyone's opinion. They just were like, cool, let's do it. She kind of. But here's the thing. She didn't say it in a rude way. She never was being nasty. But because of the sound cues and like the music they're playing, you're literally like, oh, this bitch, she's having a diva moment.
How dare she? She came all the way from the UK to tell us how to do drag.
Well, and everyone's so nice this season that this is like the first moment of like someone just being a little bit less
congenial.
Yes, congenial. So it feels like it's like, oh.
I mean, put drag queens in a room, and this is week 6. So they have been there for like, what, almost a month now together, just doing drag all the time. That hurts. It's uncomfortable. You get hungry, you get irritated. And like, I think this is the point where we can see queens are starting to show off their irritation. And it's like starting to bubble up. because eliminations aren't the only traumatic thing about Drag Race. Like the entire process, I can imagine, is so traumatic because you do everything so fast. But yeah, Viv was not having it, and I don't think she was like rude about it. She just was like, "Well, this was decided for us," which I think is fair point. But then again, like, how else are you gonna decide a group? Like, what would be the fairest way? I think the where that Jinx mentioned was actually pretty good.
So if you were listening to both songs, which are Titanic and Together Forever, which one would you want to do a verse on?
Titanic. I think it has better melody. It has like a better theme, and I think there was so much potential for that song, like Titanic and stuff. Like you can just, especially with Y2K, you can just bring it back. But the other song, Together Forever, was good, but not as good as the Titanic.
I would have done Together Forever because to me that was giving very Y2K energy, like the bang 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 bang, like it has a lot of those like punchy like
Mm-hmm.
drum moments. And Titanic was fine, but it wasn't giving like that like campy over the top Y2K energy. So I probably would have went with the other
Mm-hmm.
one. But so our teams are Vivienne and Jinx and Jada and Yvie. And then the other team, which is Team Titanic, is Monet and Shea and Trinity and Raja. So they record their verses, they do their dance, and they hit the main stage. So as we always do, me and Bucy have both done our rankings, and we found the average. And we will now go in the order from 8 to 1. But we have a tie for 7th and 8th. We both have the same bottom two. We just had them in a different spot. So
Yeah.
it's Raja and Jinx. What did you think of Raja this episode? She's coming off of her first win, and now she's going into this challenge. So how do you think she did?
Fine. Like I don't remember her whereas like now a few days later I'm like, what did Raja actually do? And the same goes actually for Jinx because they were just not memorable for me. And that's one thing that you need on Drag Race.
For me, I had Raja at 7. I think that she had a better verse than her legend verse. I thought she looked beautiful. Her makeup was stunning in the challenge, and she did a solid job. I just think everyone else did better. What did you think about her runway?
Oh, loved Raja's runway. It was very Dolly Parton, the fringy moment. It kind of was very similar to outfit that Trinity was wearing, just in a different color. But then again, that's Dolly Parton. One thing I wish was that Raja did bigger boobs. Well, and I get Raja is not a breast queen, but then this is Dolly Parton, girl. You go full on.
Yeah, I just need to complain for a second because what sense does having a Dolly Parton runway and lip sync have in an episode that's all about Y2K?
No sense. And that's the kind of what's been happening with Drag Race, where lip syncs kind of do not match the vibe of the episode. It's very strange that they chose like this runway and this song. I mean, this lip sync song goes great with the runway, but it's just strange timing for this challenge.
Yeah, you could have done this runway and lip sync song in any other episode, and I would have been like, fine. That's cool. We love Dolly.
Yeah, like
I'm down with it.
after any comedy challenge, it would make also
Mhm.
sense. But it was very specific Y2K music challenge, and then Dolly is like completely opposite of that.
They
so-
could have had like a Y2K runway. They could have just done Night of 1,000 Britney's, Night of 1,000 Christina's. Like, there's so many options
Exactly.
and so many songs they could have done for the lip sync song. Like, do It's Gonna Be Me by NSYNC. That's camp.
That is camp. I believe Deja Sky did that when I watched her live, and that was so good. Ah,
Yeah, I really just, it took me out of it a little bit because it was just so jarring going from like Y2K to like 1980s Dolly Parton looks. And I was like, okay, I don't know how we got here, but fine. I think it's just because it wasn't what I was expecting. And it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sure. But regardless, they had some really good, solid Dolly Parton runways. And Raja, I think, was one of them.
Yeah, Raja's was definitely one of them.
Jinx's verse, for me, I actively did not like. And this was the problem I had with this group in specific, because they had the Together Forever song, which was like the very Y2K sounding
Mm-hmm.
song. They had this whole like arc with their group where it's like Yvie's a robot
Yeah.
and Jinx is 90 years old and Jada is, talking about shit. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
cool,
Make it make sense.
but like, how does that fit the like you're on TRL?
It doesn't. That's why I think this challenge was just kind of middle of the road, because it was just like it didn't fit the theme. I wanted them all to go like full Y2K, but guess not.
I get the idea of wanting to like do more than like what the challenge is asking, but sometimes I think just giving what the challenge is asking you to give is like the best idea. And like I was just so
Mhm.
confused. Why is Jinx a 90-year-old woman in a girl group? Those were our bottom two. I also really enjoyed Jinx's runway though, because everyone went for either that like classic 2000s, 60-year-old Dolly with these like really
Mhm.
like done up dresses, or they went like
Uh-huh.
80s big hair, perm. And Jinx went for like early career 1960s Dolly, and I think that fit her aesthetic a little bit more. So I thought that was a really good
Mhm.
choice by Jinx.
Yeah, it worked with who Jinx is, which I think is a consistent thing we see with Jinx. Like, she's not just going to a designer and saying, "Oh, make me a fierce garment, make it different, make it this and that." No, she's doing like this is Jinx's version of the challenge and the runway. So that's why I think she's thriving in this competition, because she doesn't try to be like all over the place. She knows who she is. She's comfortable with herself, and like it makes complete sense for Jinx to do like 60s version of Dolly.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. In our sixth place, we have Trinity the Tuck. We both put her in that sixth place. For me, it's not because I thought she did bad. I just thought everyone else did better.
exactly the same. Like, it's not because Trinity was bad. It's just like the top five was more clear to me. So, and that was just it. Like, her runway was like she looked gorgeous on the
Stunning.
runway. That outfit was stunning. The everything was just so on point, and she looked like Dolly had her hair. Everything was just so nice. I mean, she has as much plastic as Dolly, probably, so that helps.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I thought what she did was smart, because she kind of made like a storyline for her character as well. But unlike with
Mm-hmm.
Jinx, I think that it made more sense because she was this like Y2K Justin Timberlake obsessed fangirl. So that's how I think
Mm-hmm.
you make a character for the performance without taking it so far out of the realm of the challenge that it's like, what are we doing?
If she was like a very crazy fan with some like hilarious lyrics, I think that could have easily pushed her to the top. But it was just okay. Like, no complaints.
Yeah. In our number 5 position, we have the Vivienne.
I don't remember how I ranked
I
her,
think
to
you
be
had her
honest.
4th and I had her 5th.
She won, and she was not happy that she was blocked, girl. She was oof. She was bitter, which we see from her blockings later on. But Vivienne was, for me, like, I found her lyrics funny. I found them good, and on the runway she looked like Dolly. It was amazing. The same thing as with Trinity. I think the queens that I personally ranked higher than her gave me more Y2K, which I think was this challenge. I cannot even say that she didn't deserve to win this challenge, because she was funny. She did look like like her face was Dolly. That was insane. That's incredible.
The makeup transformations that we are getting this season from the Vivienne, from Trinity, from Raja, it is like next level.
It's so good. These queens really, I mean, they're winners. They better know how to beat their face, but it's just insane what they can transform themselves into.
Yeah, and I would hope that on an all-winner season they would get more time to get ready before the main stage,
Mhm.
just because you want to give your best. Like these are your
I
winners.
mean, inside tea from me talking to some queens who were on Drag Race, they get hour and a half to get fully ready, and that includes getting mic'd by the production. That would never be possible for me. I would be the Valentina of the season with my
You'd be the
glasses
Kimura
on and no eye
Hall.
makeup.
You'd still be backstage
I
getting
would be
ready.
That's insane to me, and I hope that these winners actually get time, which I think they do, because some of those looks and transformations, like for example, Shea going out in her Spikes look, that makeup that she did, that cannot be an hour and a half face.
Yeah.
It literally cannot. So
How long did this
they
take
have to
for
have
you today?
with crying time, around 2.5 hours.
Without the crying, it was
No,
only 45 minutes. For me, the Vivienne, I loved that she was just this, like, British, like, she used her British humor throughout the verse, and, like, it was funny. She did great, but it's not Y2K. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. She was amazing. I literally cannot say anything bad. But was it, like, if I saw that performance, Y2K would not be a thing I think of. Like, her runway, her lyrics, everything, I literally wouldn't think of Y2K. So that's the only thing.
And we've seen in other challenges where the judges will be like, we wanted this from you and we didn't get that, you're in the bottom two. And, it's easy to just say, Viv, you did a great job. But the point of this challenge was Y2K, and her look wasn't Y2K, her lyrics were Y2K, while there were other queens who I just thought did that aspect of the challenge better.
Yeah. But let me mention, like, in contrast to that, like what she did with Dolly, she literally was Dolly during that lip sync. She, like, had all the moves down, everything. Like, she got into that character. And if she did that for the main challenge, if she just got some kind of Y2K character and got into that and put her 2 cents in, I think that would make, like, a world of difference. But again, she won, so she got $10,000. So
and I'm not
amazing for you.
mad that she won because we got to see her do Dolly in that lip sync. So I'm fine with it.
That was
so good.
Yes, it made it worth it. So good.
Yeah. So next up we have in 4th place Jada Essence Hall. What did you think about her performance? I thought it was a little shitty.
She dropped that shit. I like every single critique I had for previous queens. I loved her performance. Like, I think she did great, and on the runway she was amazing. But it wasn't Y2K to me, and that was, like, one thing why I ranked her lower than the other top queens. But I'm surprised that she went with that, because we know on season 12 when she tried to do a piss humor, she pissed that opportunity right out. But this time she also said, well, let's just do some shitty humor. So it was a brave choice for her. And I love Jada for that reason, because she doesn't take herself seriously. Like, when you see her be so polished and put together, you think this queen just takes drag so seriously. She's so good at it. But then she does stuff like this, and you're like, oh, this is just a clown that looks gorgeous, which is a thing that's, like, my favorite thing in drag.
There's no difference between Thorgy and Jada, except the beat.
And $100,000.
Don't remind me Thorgy lost All Stars 3. And let's not even go there.
Triggered.
Still to this day. But, yeah, no, I agree. I had Jada higher than you. I had Jada at 3. I think you had her at 5. I had Jada high because she wasn't super Y2K, but I don't think a lot of queens were. But her verse popped off. Like, she ate that verse. I think that her flow and her rap was so good. She was... I mean, I think that she's been solid in other girl group performances, but this is my favorite verse she's ever done. And that is the one that I kept going back to when I was listening to her song. I would be like, okay, where's Jada's part? And that's all I need to listen to. So I think because of just how impressive I thought the verse was, I ranked her high, as well as I think she had a really solid look in the girl group challenge. I think she looked beautiful on the runway. It wasn't giving Dolly Parton, it was giving Carly Simon or something. I don't know.
Well, you had it right when you said it was a solid performance, no diarrhea in sight. It was very nice.
Ew, not solid.
You said it. I just made the connection. I don't have anything bad to say. It's your job to be hateful and get canceled.
It's what I'm best at. It is, these YouTubers left and right are trying to cancel me.
Not to mention any names, but you been in a lot of drama.
I don't know who you are talking about.
It's so mysterious. What could go wrong?
Oh my gosh. But let's just move on before we start a Stan war. The next queen we have in third place is our other winner, Yvie Oddly. Neither of the top two made our top two.
Yvie Oddly did a great job this week, and I think this is kind of a theme, like what happened with Raja. Like, Yvie is constantly doing well, but just not, like, getting into that top two, and this was her week to finally get into that top two, get that star, an extra star now to actually be a front runner, and it's so exciting to see Yvie lip sync. The problem with this season is that I don't think they're putting right queens with the right lip sync songs. So, like last week, I believe Yvie would kill that Lizzo song. Well, this week, I think Jinx would do better at Dolly Parton. But again, we got what we got. I lived for Yvie this week. What did you think about Yvie?
I think she did a solid job. I think my top three I liked a little bit more. I get why she was a robot. I just was like, okay.
That's fine.
Her runway, I thought, was fine. I think putting Yvie Oddly in a Dolly Parton runway is always just going to feel a little bit, like, weird, just because that's so far out of the realm of what Yvie Oddly does. But I think that she was able to somewhat marry her aesthetic to Dolly Parton's aesthetic, and it didn't feel completely, like, bonkers. So I thought she did a really good job tonight. So let's move on to our top two. We have Monet Exchange, and oh my god, Monet did so well. She looked so hot in that challenge. She had one of the best runways of the week. She picked a very unexpected Dolly Parton look, and I feel like a lot of people went for kind of the same vibe. She really stood out for me there.
In my opinion, she was the winner of this challenge because her presentation in the challenge was Y2K. She was giving me that. Her rap verse was so good. And then on the runway, I love for her interpretation of the Dolly dress. And especially, I was obsessed with it during the show. But after seeing the actual story behind that dress, it made me just so happy and so sad at the same time. And I was even more obsessed with everything. So for me, Monet was the one this challenge. And I love everything that Monet did. And I'm not sure why she wasn't in the top two.
Yeah, no, I think that if I'm judging this episode, my top two, Shea and Monet, because I think they had really solid verses that were filled with the Y2K references, and I think they took a less interesting song and made it better. You know, I think it's easy to really just, like, punch up those Y2K vibes with the other song, whereas theirs was a little less on the nose, but they managed to make it seem so Y2K. They both looked so hot in the challenge. They both had really good runways that were more outside of the box. And I'm going to save it for the riggory moment when we talk about if there was riggory, but that's just how I felt about those two.
Yeah, completely obsessed with both of them. They gave us Y2K, which was this challenge. So, but I kind of get why the production gave a star to Yvie, because there's this winner who's doing constantly well, and you want to praise every single winner, every single queen. So it made sense for one of the places to go to Yvie. But then I think Shea or Monet should have been, like, in my opinion, Monet should have been the top two, but Shea could have been easily the top two with Monet, and I would be like, this works. This is it. They deserve it.
I think we should switch over to our segment of the show where we ask the question, is it rigged? This is the first week that I can see the behind-the-scenes production choices. They wanted to give Yvie a win at this point because she was the only one without a star, and they're not trying to make anyone look bad. But I genuinely think that Yvie deserved a star more in other challenges, whereas in this one, for me, I thought the very clear top two was Shea and Monet. They hit the nail on the head for every single aspect of the challenge and the runway. Whereas, like, if you could have given Yvie the win when she was the big bad wolf, you could have given her the win for the graduation speech. Like, I felt like there were other weeks where it was, like, more her moment. And I also think maybe they didn't want to have the same top two for both girl group challenges.
Yeah, for both girl group challenges. I agree. And, like, Yvie had, like, we personally ranked Yvie high in our previous videos, where for us, Yvie was constantly in that, like, top. I know for Fairy Tale Justice, I also put her in the top two. And there were opportunities there, but, well, production was productioning, and they went with a different route. And now they decided to put Yvie there, which kind of makes sense because it's halfway point in the competition. You want all the winners to be praised. And now is when the competition actually starts, I think, because most of these queens are on the even playing field. Like, majority of them have 1 stars, and there's now 3 queens with 2 stars. I think this was the time for the production to give that given win to Yvie, because when else? Because if you give it later on, it can really mess up the competition. Now it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, and you know, Yvie did a good job this challenge, and I'm not mad that she won. I was just like, this to me felt like a very clear Shea Monet. And for the Vivienne, I think it makes a lot of sense for her to get the win here, because that means she would be missing out on a star. And obviously there's a little bit of tension, whether it's real or is just, you know, put on for the cameras, between her and Jinx. And Jinx making sure that Viv misses out on a star is definitely going to kind of add some fuel to that fire, as well as then she can block Jinx the next week, and they know it's a challenge that Jinx wasn't going to win regardless. So it's like no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and like I keep thinking, I think it's because I just watched your All Stars 5 video, so I just keep referencing it. But like you mentioned there, that the lip sync assassin twist didn't work, and they kind of didn't have enough storyline to support that twist. This season, I think they're making sure that they are supporting the twist with a plunger, where they are putting queens in the top 2 who are blocked. Because, for example, in the Fairy Tale Justice, Yvie could have easily taken Jinx's spot in that top 2, but then there wasn't a queen who lost on a star, and losing a star gives us more drama, as we saw with the Vivienne now. Like, Vivienne is pissed that she lost her star.
And, you know, I fully expect production knows who the queens are going to block beforehand. You know, they're in the confessional saying, so, you know, if you were to win this week, who would you block and why? So they always want to know as much as they possibly can, because this is a television show. They want to make sure they're going to get the best results. I feel like there's no way they're going into this blocking situation not having at least an idea of every single queen, what they would do. And then they can take that and say, well, we know the Vivienne would block Jinx. We know Jinx would block Vivienne.
Yeah.
We know Raja will block this person. That's more like ammo of like, well, who do we want to put in the top then this week? What would make for the best storyline?
Yeah, and in Vivienne's case, you can even say it to person's face unprovoked, which worked out great for her. But I think they know. Like, and for the preview of the last week's episode, you see queens in the workroom talking about that. And I think production is like, oh, Trinity, go talk to Monet about who you would block. And we literally see them naming names, like Trinity being, I would block Yvie because she's on an incline, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what's going on, and I don't blame them, and I'm not mad at it. And also, everyone does so well every week that I don't think any win so far is undeserved. I think that I could say I
Mm-hmm.
would prefer to see this queen in the top instead, but I'm not. It's not like a Georges winning the design challenge moment where it's like, how the hell did this queen get that win?
Name names.
I just did. I just did.
But I completely agree because like it's easy to put any of them in the top. Well, for most challenges, sometimes there's like a clear winner, like Vivienne in the Fairy Tale Justice or Jinx in the Snatch Game. Like obviously, this queen is top two. This is a fact. You cannot change it. But then there's like challenges like this where everybody just did well and they can easily manipulate it to fit into certain storylines, and that's just reality television. So nothing that we haven't seen on Drag Race.
Exactly. Give me a good program, and I won't care if it's rigged. We're halfway through the season, and who do you think is going to be the top four right now? I'm really feeling Jinx, Monet, Jada, and maybe Yvie, since she's on kind of like an upward trajectory.
Oh, I'm also feeling Jinx, Jada, Trinity the Tuck, and the Vivienne because I feel like they are all just slaying the challenges. So we have different picks. So it's like it shows that it's literally everyone's season to win. Like just watching what happened so far, those are my four queens who I think did the best so far in the competition and would deserve it. But again, so much can happen in next couple of episodes. I can see like how Shea, Monet, Yvie, Raja, all of them could justifiably be in that top four. So it's like, how will these judges pick, or how will the production pick? We will see.
Exactly. Well, I think we have talked through this entire episode. Hopefully next week is back to that like top tier level. This was just like a solid. It wasn't as good as we've been getting, but I think we're being greedy
Mm-hmm.
bottoms at the same time because we've been blessed with such an amazing season already. But I can't wait to discuss it with you on your channel next
Yes,
week.
next week, starting whatever day we can film it because the schedules are crazy. But yeah, I'm excited for the next. I love design challenges where queens get to show their creativity and everything. It's my favorite thing on Drag Race.
Yeah.
So yeah,
My favorite are girl group and design, and I get them back to back, so I'm ready.
you are prepared.
You always got to be prepared. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know what can come in.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, gay rights. Hi, gay. Slay to the next. I don't know. I'm too tired from Pride to be witty. I wanna sleep.
Yeah, I think that we should let you go and de-drag and hibernate for the rest of the week. And I'm going to go, I don't know, do what basic gay guys do during Pride. I'll go listen to some Kim
Well,
Petras or
obviously,
something.
and drink your iced coffee.
I'm ready.
The gays are gay.
The gays are gang. Well, I appreciate you all for watching today, and thank you again, Bucy, for being here. I can't wait to be on your channel for the next week and have more people that maybe don't watch me send me hate comments.
They should. They should.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to both me and Bucy. Here are our links, and you can check all of our links in the description below as well. And catch this series now on Bucy's YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. We will see you next week with more All-Star 7 coverage. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.